Hey, Kim. Oh, you're muted.
I just said, hey, how are you?
Good, good, good. How's life?
Great, great, thanks.
Awesome.
Looks like it's cold where you are.
It is. We're well into winter, and there's only so much firewood to go around the house, you know.
Yep,
So
yep.
uh, we're doing a lot of voluntary hardship in the back here, which is fine.
Fair enough.
Cool. Well, I took a stab at going um, at your base map. So I was thinking I could either walk you through what I was doing or we could troubleshoot what was going on from your end. What would be most helpful for you today?
That's a good question. I think that I looked at all the videos and everything, and I thought, well, I'll try both to see sort of what works. And I wasn't getting Google Maps to do what I wanted to do. So at first, I kept like whatever. When you put in add path, the window still has to be up while you actually add the path. But what was happening is I would say add path, close it, and then couldn't figure out how to make the lines happen. So
Hmm.
until after I'd submitted my project. So part of it was like me just not like watching the Google Earth how to's, but not really getting it. And so I gave up, and then trying to not really understanding overlays. I mean, I understand it in concept, but I couldn't get it to work in the way that I wanted to. And then, I eventually got, watched how to do the theme thing, change the theme, as you could see with, one of those, I think, is a themed builder. Well, anyway, so I don't have enough experience with the tools. And then I lost patience and wanted to get the project done.
I hear that. I hear that. I hear that. Okay. I can walk you through what I did if that's
Okay, let's do that.
useful.
And then if I have questions, I will
Yeah,
either, yeah, I'll ask them, and or it can be addressed during the group meeting.
perfect. Okay. So what I did is I'm going to share my screen to Google Earth Pro, and this is the desktop version. This is the version I use. And I basically just punched into where you were. And when I do this, I always keep, and in all my designs and drawings, I always keep north is up. So I don't orient for maximizing my space within the slide, only because one of the biggest illiteracies we have is that there's this incredible nuclear fusion ball near us that is providing all heat, all energy, all sunlight out in space. And so I really want to come back to that every single time I do a design, even to remind myself, because for so many years, it wasn't really a big part of my education. So I do keep north up. And then what I do here, and I'm going to move you around a bit so I can get to some of the tools here, is I pull in as much as possible to then go to my print screen. So the quick command is, at least on Mac, Command P, and it'll be something else in Windows, but you can always go to File and Print.
I'm
But
using
for
Mac, so
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to put you back up here. And so on here, I'll go Command P, and then now I have generally a sense of how tight am I around this site. And this is great. This is tight enough on all sides, all corners. This is awesome. For the watershed map, you might come back to this map and you might pull out to see where the storm drains are and how much water comes by your house in case you want to work with that. But this gives me a nice interval of 10. And again, are you working in meters or are you working in feet?
I normally work in feet,
Okay,
but
great. So we can change that within the settings. So we go to Google Earth Pro Preferences and then go to feet and meters. Okay. And then go back to print. And now we're 50 feet. Awesome. So again, nice interval of 10. This works out great. So what I'll do here is I'll go save PDF or print PDF, save or print PDF. That saves, that's already been saved once as a meter, but now we'll do it in, yep, nice. And then for some reason, after I save it, it always goes up to a higher interval, which is fine. So we're going to stop share there. I'm now going to share my whole screen. I'm now going to bring up this new PDF. There we go. So this is our PDF, and basically I'm just going to take a quick screen capture. I could also go File, Export, and export as PNG or PDF or PNG or JPEG. Either works.
So why are you taking a screen capture now? What do you like, the whole screen?
Just of this. So I can do one of two things. I can either export this as a JPEG, or I can take a screen capture of this. Because basically what I want to do is I want to bring this into Google Slides. And the last time I checked, you couldn't do that as a PDF. So that's what I did here is I just
that makes sense. I'm sorry. Like, because you opened up Google Earth and did it on top of it. I was like, am I missing a step here?
Yeah, totally. No. Great piece. So basically what I did is I went back to my active master. So this is the one that's master. Clicked on the slide itself, right click, duplicate side, or just command copy. Came into your slides, command V or right click, paste slide, paste. Sometimes it doesn't work, so we got to do it again. That's just computers. Copy, doing it again, coming back again, right click, paste. There we go. Great. So it's going to say import match styles in this presentation because we don't want to override anything. I know I don't want this because I'm bringing in yours. I'm going to get rid of all of my highlighted bars. So I'm just drawing my squares. I'm going to get rid of this. That's a bit in the way. I'm going to remove my legend for the moment. I'm just going to put it over to the side. And now I've got open space. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my desktop. I'm going to grab that JPEG we just exported. Great. Now I've got that JPEG. And now what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to get rid of this too. Basically going to make this as big as possible to fill up the space while still leaving space on the sides for legends. So if you take a look at this, your property ends at this place and this place. So I want to move this a little bit to the right. And so now I'm using my arrow keys just to move it around. So I've got some space at the bottom, some space at the top. Yeah, that looks roughly right. Awesome. Now I'm going to do something that's a little different. I'm going to order send to back so I can see my legend. And the reason for this is I'm going to zoom in. So up here, I'm going to go zoom in and move down. And I'm probably going to zoom in one more time. So, or maybe that's okay. And basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring my scale bar over here, overlap it to the scale. And then right now it's actually perfectly at 50 feet. So I'm going to move that back because now I know that this bar is 50 feet. This is 25. 5 goes into 25.5. So each of these is 5 feet. So now what I can do is I can zoom out again, double click this image, and now I've got our crop bars. And now I can actually crop in.
Where did you get the crop bars? Because I haven't figured out how to do that.
So if you double click on the image itself, it'll pop up with the crop bars.
Okay,
So if
great.
I double click like this, it brings up the crop. And if you move it around, it's kind of like moving within a window where it's like there's a window and you're moving with
Yeah, I can do that. I just didn't know how to do it on Google Slides.
Okay, awesome. And then now what I'm going to do is going to move this around so that way I've got some space for things. So this is where I might bring my legend back in, just so I've got some space to work now. I'm going to probably right justify it to there. I'm going to give myself as much headspace as possible. So I'm really going to put it to the top because I might have more pieces. And this overlaps pretty good. So maybe in this specific way of being, I'm probably going to move this a bit more over. I'm going to double click on this again, and I'm going to bring in the left-hand side now and go right to there, just to really maximize the amount of space I have. And now I'm using my arrow keys and just kind of moving it around. And that's not bad, actually. I might actually move it up just to give me even more space, because what you might find eventually is that you're actually going to chop the top because it's a duplex, right?
Right.
Yeah, cool. So this is really close. I might give myself a little bit more space just so it's off. There we go. That's pretty good. I don't mind that at all. Gives me some space on the bottom if I've got another big long legend. Super. Okay. And now it's north is up, and that all works. What we didn't do is we didn't go down and change our legend. So we're going to zoom in. Go down here. We work this out as 50 feet. Half is 25. 5 intervals are going to be 5 feet apiece. So that'll be 5. Well, wait a second. That's not true. 10. Oh, yes, it is.
Happily.
15, 20, 30, 20, and
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
then
was like, I put my glasses on everything, so you'll see.
25. Oh, that's a nice thing about working digitally. You can actually zoom in.
Yeah.
Being somebody who's used glasses for a long time and has a power of like minus 10.75 and 11.75, it's just like, if I can't see. And then 50 feet. Okay, and then I'm basically just going to muck about and make sure it's roughly right, and it looks under that. That's great. I'm not going to do the scale right now, but I'll leave that for you. And then now what I did is fit. Nice. I'm going to move us around again. And then I brought down your master just so I could quickly copy and paste all of the pieces I need for this. So it was nice and close. And so address or coordinates, I'm going to put this in here. Great. So this isn't what I want. I actually want this formatting. So if you double click anything on a Mac, it's Command Option C, or you can go up to the paint format brush and click it. And then I'm going to go over here and Command Option V. And so now it's the right one. Project title is Urban Garden, which I read from the other one, Urban Garden. Oh, sorry, that's the project name. So before this, we're going to put base map so we know what the map is. Base map. I'm going to remove project title. And basically, I'm trying to make this bar as small as possible. So if I can get 2 lines, I will. I'll show you in a moment how I'm going to do that. We already have coordinates, so we don't need coordinates because we've got this. So I'm going to merge these 2. So I've got 2, but I don't change the spacing on this side. Area, I think it's 20. Yeah, so I'm not going to bring in your nomenclature on the side, your units, because there's a shorthand way of doing that. I will keep elevation. Dimensions not totally necessary for this one. I'm just going to put feet squared. And then elevation, I think it's 167. Yeah, I just did this 2 seconds ago. And then 167, and then feet. And then coordinates we already got. And so we're going to put in.
Although I do think that I was doing the contour map. What are we doing now this week? I think it's closer to like 157.
Okay, cool.
But I'll fix it later.
Sweet. So there we go. Pretty much dead center. And so now if we want, we can right justify and then center. And it looks good. Except we've got extra spaces, so it's kind of holding space at the bottom. And there we go. We've got a nice tight horizontal bar, which we could probably even push down a little bit more. I'm going to push this up. And scale, we might actually even move into this area when we've got a chance. But this gives us the place to start. Now, as I went back to this slide, I just wanted to check and see that it's basically the ridge line acts as the northwestern boundary of the property. It runs the front and it has the back little pull in, the little drive. So now I'm going to go to my polyline tool. Polyline, I'm going to hit the back and I'm going to try for a first run. Got it. And then I'm going to click a couple of, it decided to finish, which happens.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out how this one worked.
That's all programs. Doesn't matter what program you're working with. There's always a little moment. There we go. And now I'm going to go up to property boundary. Going to click on that. Going to use my paint tool. Click on this. It's now filled. So I'll go to the fill tool, transparent.
Okay. Let me just remind myself to make that note because I didn't know you could.
Yeah. And I'm recording this as well. So you're free to look at this again. And now I'm going to start working on the big elements first. So I like to work on the house first. So I'm going to take a shape. I'm going to take a square. I'm basically going to start in this corner and go to where I think it generally is, which is about here. And then I'm going to rotate it so it's in line with that top northernmost boundary and kind of muck about here. That's not bad. That's actually pretty darn close. I'm going to remove the fill by going to the infill, transparency. I like using orange for my buildings. It's not normally a color we use otherwise. Oh, I moved everything, which happens. So just Command Z quickly if you ever muck up. Muck-up's great because you get really close to what you really want to say, but you got to say it publicly. There we go. So that's perfect. Now, the nice thing is that if you have other squares that are based upon the square of your house, you can just copy and paste that square, just Command C, Command V, and then basically just make that back box, and then we'll do the exact same thing. Oop, come back here, you. Nice. Command C, Command V, and then I'm going to do the same for the front. Nice. And I'm going to zoom in a bit. If it ever gets choppy, it just means that it's creating a granular structure from how much you're zooming in or zooming out, pardon me. So if you zoom in, you get more finesse of moving around boxes and things. Here we go. That's a little wide, it looks. And then the nice thing is you can always go back in and you can measure this, right? You can take a little box here and you could scale this to 5 of these and then move it around and be like, how wide is this? So back to fit. Great, we've got the house now. And then where are the doors on this house?
So it's right. I wasn't sure how to indicate that under the eaves of the
so even if you go into,
so there's one that's here, kind of, and the other is like they're right by the side of the house. Yeah, okay. Like where the duplex line is.
So what I'm going to do, Kim, is I'm going to put a little box in here, and if you can manipulate it so it goes to where the door is and the swing is, that'd be great. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll find the image I want. Actually, I'm just going to find the actual one from the master of the door swing.
Yeah, I actually wasn't, and I wasn't sure. Well, yeah, on the master sheet, I took the master sheet out. But like, do they just copy paste or are they vector slides? Well,
no, they're
didn't even try.
Yeah, so here it is. It's coming underneath. So we're going to right click order. Oh no, it's front. Never mind, front and center. Cool. So yeah, where does this? I'm going to leave that there, and you put it where it needs to be.
Okay, so.
About there?
Not about, but I was going to zoom in so I could see better.
Gotcha.
Which way is the door swinging? It's quite.
Yeah, so the dotted line is the arc that the door would swing, and then the door itself has a little handle on it.
So basically, all right. Damn it, sorry.
No worries.
Oh, I should have said muck it, sorry.
I'll put a rating on it when it goes up.
I don't think I can. I'm gonna have to change the color so I can see it better.
So if I move this around, I'm gonna take it for a second. Is that how it opens up? Like this is the outside and this is the inside?
So if I'm walking out the door, it opens to the left. So if I'm facing that garden,
yeah,
it opens to the left. I just can't see.
And swings in.
Swings out.
Oh, it swings out to the world.
I have 2. I have the inside door swings in, and there are 2 doors. So the inside door swings in and the outer door swings out.
Okay, so I imagine it's something like this, where we've got one door like this.
Yes.
And then there's also a flip option here, which is great. Is it this one? No, where is my flip one? Position, size, rotate, position. There it is, flip. Nice. It's good enough. And then flip out. And what we can do is, if you're ever having problems seeing things, I'm just going to zoom to fit. I'm going to go back to this. So I've clicked the aerial, and I'm going to my format options. We're going to move you again, and we're going to go to our opacity, our transparency. I'm just going to, oh, you don't want to do that. Interesting. What's going on? Huh, that's curious. No, I don't want reflection, thank you. Oh, this is drop shadow. That's why. and reflection is still on. So what is there recolor adjustments? Oh, drop shadow is on, right? Drop shadow, reflection off. Good. Okay. Size and position, format options. Okay. So this is what I do if I can't figure it out. I just go to help. And I go to image transparency. Nope. So let's try transparency. Also no. Cool. So Google Slides, image transparency. So I should right click, format, click adjustments arrow. Cool. So this one, adjustments. Oh, this is what I did before. Oh, now it's working. Oh, it was. Okay, I'm gonna refresh the page.
Oh, you're doing the whole picture, I think. You're making the back image transparent. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah, it happened. It just wasn't showing up. Great. So this then allows us to see the doors a little bit better.
Yes. Okay.
If we wanted to. So is that how they should look?
What?
Are the doors how it should look?
Yeah, let me go back. Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I'm thinking, but that second door is here. Like, so that porch is open.
Oh, okay. So is there any space between the two doors, or it's just like a door and a door 6 inches apart?
Like a door and a door. Actually, here, can you see it? No.
Okay, cool. And then is there a door on the back?
Yeah, there's a door on the back. So if you go down to slide 36, you can see where the door is.
Slide 36. I'm just going to position this in my screen again. 36.
So the door that we're just doing is the one on that left. And so literally if I open that door, then 2 inches from it is another door that swings out.
Okay. And this picture in 36, this is the back of the house or the front?
That's the like front. That's the part that's facing that street. That's where we are.
And so is there a door on the back of the house similar to where
yes, the door on the back of the house is, if you can see it in slide 38. That's why I included the pictures, because I wasn't sure how to do them. So you can see there's 2 doors there on the top right.
Okay.
That's not exactly right at the wall. It's probably
a few inches off.
5 feet, actually 5 feet from the center line of the ridge of the house.
Okay, sounds good. So basically, if we had something like this, that would be roughly right.
I'm coming back up. Yes.
Okay, great.
And then another one. Do you have to have the indoor one? Does it matter?
If you want to, we can copy and paste and do it as well. Yeah, sure. That's easy enough.
Okay.
There we go. Nice. Cool. So that takes care of our doors. And now I'll usually do my big blocks. So we've got.
And then should I do the gates as well? Like just not now, but for future?
Definitely. Definitely. So once you get your fencing in place, wherever that might be, I would definitely do that for sure. So like things like the hedges, because it's a solid hedge, I would use this sort of imagery or polyline. So I would take a polyline and then just outline, make it look a little rough and tumble so it doesn't just look like a box. Or something like that. So that's our hedge. And then with your conifers and your deciduous, all you have to do is just copy from where this is, and it might be, I think these are mostly coniferous, so copy and paste, and then bring this in and then stretch it out and then place it wherever it needs to be. So you can run it that way. And then the last thing here that I would do on this is I would put in my sidewalks and my green spaces and my road. So again, polyline's your friend. So I come to the bottom here, kind of run the arc. So I'm doing clicks all around the arc.
Yeah.
And, this, you could put this whole piece in, and you may want to in another slide. But there we've got that. Go up to our gray. Light gray is fine. That's now transparency because we're into this wonderful transparency moment, which is fine. A little bit darker is good too. And now what I probably do for the sidewalks, only because it's going to be frustrating to go around and do it all, I'd probably do a polyline around everything. So that means your sidewalks as well as your boulevard gardens, and probably go up and around this as well. So looks like there's some sidewalk here. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So try again.
And then I have gardens and plantings in the, I can never remember what this thing is called, between the sidewalk and the thing that's not my property, but I can do stuff to it.
Boulevard.
No, is the boulevard the grassy space?
Usually.
Interesting. I think it's got another name.
Okay.
In America, but now I know. Okay, yeah. So yes.
And then there, and then there. So now we've got this space. So I'm going to turn this very light gray. And then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to do the boulevard gardens there. So I'm going to come back and do each of them separately.
Okay.
So this will mean that when I do this, hopefully, it's going to come out on top. If it doesn't, that's okay. But what I'm going to do is make sure that we go back to green. Nice. Yeah, worked out perfectly. Okay. And the nice thing is once you do that, your next shape is going to have the same styling. So you don't have to do it every time, because that can get very old in the tooth.
Those polylines, can you adjust them?
Mm-hmm.
Not just squeeze them, but like actually like adjust them at angles?
Yeah, so if you double click, you can take any of the points and you can move it around. Yeah. And I go through that.
Okay, make it more rounded. I just can't see if that's what you just did.
No, so the one thing you can't do is that. So if we zoom in.
That's fine. No, I couldn't figure out how to do that. And so it's good to know that it's not possible in this.
Yeah, it's not a rounding tool. I believe, let me just take a look at the scribble. I think the scribble does something like that. No, the scribble doesn't either. No, it doesn't have a warp tool to it.
All right.
Going back, poly. Whenever you're ready, just take your time. There we go. Thank you. You know, I love drawing. It's just so much more pleasurable to do, but doing this once is a whole different story versus having to do it over and over again. But I definitely highly recommend that people muck about with drawing as much as they can. Cool. So if there's others you want to put in, go for it, happily. But basically, when you have these done, go to fit, you're going to have these colors to work with. So once we have this color, this road color, I'm going to copy this, probably put it over the wetland because you don't have a wetland, and going to put main road street, right? Similarly, I'm going to click on this, copy, go to the next one, and then boulevard gardens or green space. Or if they're gardens, you can make a whole different color for that just to show it. And then we move on, like we move on to everything that's internal. And similarly, we'll want to get the downspouts in there, water spigots. And if you have called the city to find out where your water and sewer are, great. If you don't have them, that's fine too. If you can see an overhead line coming in, go for that. But
so sewer in before, how would I do that? It goes sort of from, well, show me how you would do a sewer line.
Yeah, sure. So I would choose a line weight. So probably do like a pink or something like that, because it's pretty specific. So I take a line and let's say that it comes out the front of the house from like here. And so I would take this over to the main, go back to my dotted line, probably dot dash purple, maybe give it one more weight, and then take that line. That's right. I would take one of these lines, copy, paste, take this down to my others, make sure it's in line with everything else. Click on this, copy the format, put it in here, and then go sewer line. And similarly, any other lines you need to bring in, I would do it that way.
Okay, thank you. And then in my feedback, you had said that I should mention, like, name the trees and the green thing. So Well, I can, but where should I put it? Like underneath?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So I would just add, so right click, insert row below. And then let's say you're starting to work with nomenclature. So let's say we're using conifers. So I'd probably put another conifer here. And let's say you said, I think you said there was a wisteria vine arbor, something like that.
Yeah, there's a,
Wisteria.
wisteria is kind of in the back left garden.
Great. And so I would come back here and I'd probably put a little marker down. So I'd put a little text box over top and do, WI or something, and have to make it probably a little bigger, a little wider, and maybe even muck about with its sizing. WI, and I'm just going to zoom in so I can center it on that. Nice.
So why would we do that with letters?
Because it's an abbreviation code. So if you pull it onto your map, you want some sort of abbreviation code so you can tell what everything is.
So
without,
I would do like a shrub
yeah,
on top of it.
yeah. So I would go and grab all of this. And again, if you ever click something you don't want, hold Shift on a Mac, and then click on the thing you don't want, and you'll be left with what you do. And wherever that wisteria is, I think from your other map, it was someplace around here, something like this.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah.
And so now we've done all the work in one, and wisteria, and I have no idea off the top of my head what wisteria is. In terms of,
It's like a vine.
Fabinaceae. Great. So I just want to make sure I've got the binomial as well, because we want to get to the habit of doing that.
Sure. If that's not the right kind of wisteria, does it matter?
No, we're just going to get close. No, it's actually the same. Okay, good. Easy. And then I'm, because I'm persnickety and I've got a bit of German in me, I'm going to just make sure that's as centered as possible, but that's as close as I can get it. So I'm going to try and zoom in one more time.
Okay, so do you want us to put the Latin in?
If you can. Yeah. Yeah. It's a really good habit to get into, especially if you're working on projects with other people. That's the common. Great. So that's as good as we're going to get on that, which is totally fine. Great. So that's wisteria, and we've got wisteria there. So I would do that for everything else. And then the only other thing, and a lot of people have been missing this, is that if I remove this transparency completely, so we go to Format Options, Adjustments, Transparency Full. No, maybe not transparency. Super useful, guys. What's going on? I'm going to do a refresh. That worked last time. Every time you're working with Google Slides and something wrong happens, you just have to go, it's free. It's free. It's free. I didn't have to pay a subscription. I didn't have to pay a one-time fee. I can learn it basically on the fly. Oh, there we go. So now with that gone, if it's white and blank, it needs something. So even the ground cover, like once you put everything in, you may want to put in an entire background ground cover to say, oh, grass. And so you may want to do that right off the bat and just do a polyline where what you do is, and I know there's something in the back here, there's that, let's bring it back. That's not 90%. It's super fun. So yeah, let's just do the whole thing all at once.
Like, so the star is one part, then there's two parts, then there's three parts. I would say that section is divided into three parts, but I guess I wasn't really sure how to describe it, because basically, like, there's the car, and then the sections after the car, we've just graveled that. Actually, I didn't put it on my thing. And then there's the wisteria dividing. Then I have a pond, and basically like open garden where I have various plants, and
Awesome.
they change. Like there's some fixed plants, but most of the plants just change annually, depending on what the dogs don't kill.
Okay. Awesome. That's great. So if whatever you want to fill this in as is totally fine. I would order this.
Describe that area that's like dirt, and then I might mulch it. It might have annuals, or like, what do I say?
Yeah. Well, if it's not grass, and if either it's a mulch or it's a garden bed or it's a, whatever it might be. And this is one of those times where if you want to take this shape and actually just draw it out and just plop that in because it's easier to draw instead of work a bunch of pixels, you definitely can. But we just want to know where everything is to know, and to.
How did you make that big light green square go around the house so nicely?
I just traced it. I just followed it. So I grabbed the polyline tool and then started at the back and then went to the front, the corner,
All right.
corner, 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 grabbing the circle arc.
See what you were doing. You're just tricky.
And then there we go. And then we've got that. And then go into our color palette, grab that. And then again, if you're persnickety, you can do it. You can come in here and really make sure it's perfecto.
Okay.
There we go. Awesome.
Great.
And then fit to come back. Cool. So now if we, let's see if this will work for us. It's free. It's free. It's free. It's free, and the course didn't end up being another 4 weeks longer. There we go. So yeah, sometimes you just go back and forth. And now that I see this, I'm like, okay, I see there's a little sliver here. So if I zoom in, and you'll know better than anybody else, it looks like the green space actually is over here a bit. So that just helps to fit that all in. And then we've got the majority of it in. So I would then go back in, and I know that you put some great detail in about the gutter flow and then the storm drains, which is great. I would put the rest of this here, the downspouts in. 1 or 2 flow lines is great. We don't need a bunch. So you can go back in here and you can grab a surface flow line, copy paste, and then we can bring it over here. And oh, it really wants to be there. I'm going to let it because it's going to help me. Cool. So we've got that flow line, and it looks like a similar flow line. I can size and rotate, and I can do a flip horizontal and a flip vertical. So now I've got one for each. And then we can do the same thing with the sides. Yeah, people have been very gregarious with their water flow lines. And if it's a big flat surface, I only need 1 line. I don't need 100. So flip, flip. Nice. And then we'll grab this one because it's already oriented generally in the space in the place I want. I'm going to go back and reference your hand-drawn flow, which is really good, by the by. Like first run, awesome. This is hard stuff to figure out, and you did a great job right at the beginning. So kind of like that, you can definitely correct that. And I might do 2 just to kind of make it clear. Cool. And then similarly, I'd probably grab 1 and just, oh, you can stay there. Thank you very much. It's funny. I was just doing IT support for my mom this morning, and it's super fun. So this is a great example. This blue is no longer showing up on the gray. Like you look at it and it really does have some problems. So I might muck about, and I might thicken it. I might thicken it more. I might go back to my color, go back to my custom plus right there, and just drag it over. And now it does show up. Great. That's awesome. And the great thing is you can beg and steal from your others. So you already have this in here. So I can grab that and bring that over to our map. Man, your base map's going to be done by the time we're through this call. Awesome. Awesome.
And so really just putting in, though, the things that I'm keeping, like definitely keeping.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that is nailed down or currently static in sight. And the reason for that is we want to get a sense of what everything is. And I see that you actually took a screenshot of this, but if you click on it and copy it and then paste it, you'll get the transparency aspect of it as well. So it'll show up a little bit better on the
That's great.
base map.
I just wasn't, I was, yeah.
Hey,
I think
By
trying
hook-
to do it as best as possible at the end. I was like,
by hook or by crook, it's all good. By hook or by crook. Cool, that looks great. And then, similarly, we can do one on the other side as well. So this gives us all the information we need. I would put something in the back here again, a little polyline tool. And then do a gravel, or is that what it is? Gravel stone?
yeah.
Okay, nice. And maybe we'll even
Or
look
stone.
about. No, we're not doing that. That's going back to 1994 clip art. We're not doing that. That's a no. That's a no. Somebody actually found a great gradient infill. So I'm just getting some information on that. That'll be awesome to have. And that's way too close to everything else. What else do we got here? Oh, nice and dark. Cool. So that's dark. This is dark. Good enough. So we'll just go stone parking pad or gravel parking pad. Gravel. And if we don't want to create an icon for the house, we can just label the house. That's easy enough. It's pretty clear.
Okay.
House. And now you just have to populate with some fences, some other utility lines, downspouts, spigots, things of that nature. I'm going to pull this back.
AC unit I had right before.
Okay, great. Does that answer the majority of your questions, Kim? Is there anything else we can?
So, and then now that you have the transparency, how would you, like, do I need to? I will reserve the rest of my questions for the next class if I have them.
Sure.
I think I just want to play around with it a bit and then see if I actually have questions.
Yeah, for sure. And I go through it all in the tutorials. So if there's anything you're missing, like what to do with this next and how to take a grayscale, everything's in that tutorial I put together for the class.
I got that. I got the grayscale. You did a very nice how to do the grayscale and auto color and all that. That's how I did some of my things.
Oh, nice.
Just
Awesome.
wasn't getting. I think I wasn't getting things to. I just wasn't spending enough time with it, and then I was pressed.
Totally, I get that. But there you go. You've got the beginning of a base map.
All right. Thank you, Javan.
Yeah, no worries. If you have any other questions, let me know. And I'll set this up right away as another video for you to download, and we'll probably put it up, and it'll help other people to see how it's done in another situation.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Take care.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye now.